welcome back, dear brothers and sisters. So, imagine if the person who feels right now the urgency to come to the point or finish this in quick bullet point is able to sympathize with type 5 who wants a little more information, or type 6 who wants to really do research and feel safe in having a lot more information. This is why it is so important for us to understand each type, and the why we have this particular ways of behavior that that is showing up. And so we want to talk about, first of all, the existential self. In other words, the self that exists, the person that you are right now sitting in Pakistan or India or Sri Lanka or any other place. Uh, there is a core self. What I mean by the core self is the self that actually was created by God when we were born. It was a self that was surrounded by the presence of God. It was always aware of the presence of God, even right now. It's a true self. It is deep within us. However, this self exists in four different realms. So you have your body existence, biological existence. We know the body has bones, and we talked about that with 266 different bones and muscles that are making us stand upright. We are the only creatures that are upright, not only physically but also spiritually. We were made to be upright before God, and that is integrated with a body that can be also upright, so that we can stand tall and be firm or be strong. We also have nerve cells, which means God purposed nerve cells so that we can become conscious. Not only conscious physically, internal or materially, being conscious of the five sensations of touch and touch and seeing and hearing and tasting, and the sensation of touch, the five core senses. But we can also sense the Holy Spirit if the Spirit is alive within us. So the nerves, the brain is able to process things not only for cognition, but also conscious of the deeper self, the core self. We can become conscious of God. God is here. And where you are is where we can experience God's presence. So this is where the body suddenly transforms and becomes the temple of the Holy Spirit. In other words, we abide in God and God abides in us. And in this relationship of givenness, God giving fully Himself, and we are fully empty to receive God, somewhere in that dynamic, we experience joy. His joy and His happiness becomes our portion. Okay? Um, we want to talk about the cultivated self. The cultivated self, on the other hand, is something that is developed over a period of time. Infancy, childhood, early childhood, late ch- childhood, teens. Now there is preteens, teens, young adult, seniors. These are stages of life. These are when the outward self is developed. What people see, mostly to do with our physical image and our thoughts and ideas. I want to say this is the false self. This is the self that has been created to show the world. It is false only when we try to mask it, push it, promote it, pretend it, as though it is a separate something that is our effort. When we are able to use this self and acknowledge God as our life and success and achievements. And when God gets the glory, that self is enfolded into our true self. So it finds integrity, not division. However, we know we cannot keep always, we don't do that. We all get ticked off, we get angry, we get inflated, egotistic, wounded, insecure, fearful. That is the self that is compulsive and it suffers a lot. How many times we have been misunderstood? How many times we have misunderstood others because we try to not understand their motivation. We misread their motivation. That is the fault lying in us because we cannot. Now, this approach helps us to understand the human personalities in three different ways. Imagine a pearl. A pearl is formed out of a grain of a sand. The grain of sand entering and irritating the flesh triggers a wound, and immediately the mother of pearl is released. And this mother of pearl coats the wound and creates a showy pearl, red, green, blue. What if the mother of pearl is available to us all the time? The beautiful self that is always available to us. We don't need a covering, we don't need a color, we don't need a coating. We are pearl, pearl. We are period, pearl. Pearl in its original color. So three pearls are talking about three different types of personalities, or actually nine personality types, expressing in three primary emotions. And I don't want to labor on this too much to confuse you, but this grain of sand, this irritant, this wound operates from a particular emotion. It's called the ground emotion. And when this emotion is there, and when our self faces a reality, this particular emotion is released in three different ways. The self begins to operate from this window of seeing the world, seeing God, seeing others. And this primary emotion is anger, fear, and shame. Okay? So the three groups of personality are the centers of gravity are in the gut, where we feel anger, heart, where we feel shame, and head, where we feel anxiety or fear. Okay? So heart types are 2, 3, 4, head types are 5, 6, 7, and gut types are 8, 9, and 1. What does it do when faced with reality? The heart, uh, the heart personalities begin to mask their shame. The head personalities begin to sort and divide their uh, information in order to reduce their anxiety. On the other hand, the gut begins to resist reality in a way, in a way to create an impact of strength, courage. Okay, so the psychology of red is always encourages action. You can see the Apostle Peter, impulsive, reflexive. quick to make an action. Quick. Just uh, tell me tell me in a nutshell, tell me in a bullet points. Okay, let's go. It's action, confidence. It is associated with heat and passion. That's why it's red. The psychology of blue, on the other hand, encourages thinking, space for thinking in order to trust. It's the Apostle Thomas, doubting, clarifying, asking for feedback, asking for more questions. So there is room for them around that round table. It is associated with wisdom, intelligence, and logic. And then there is a psychology of green, encourages growth and balance. It is associated with love and care. I think I can see the Apostle John somewhere there. Maybe true, maybe not true. And these are the 9 numbers, and we can go into detail in the next video so that it doesn't appear long. Okay, thank you very much.